Node. Ether on demand. Alpha has a message from Moorbreeder for the Scions. I forgot. I believe Moorbreeder has requested a gathering at the site of the Scions. I assume there has been some progress concerning our efforts to combat the Sassians. Pray inform her that our business with the Ishgardians is concluded for the moment. I shall be along once I completed my communications with the Crystal Braves. All done with your talks of dragons? Wonderful, because Assassins are next on the menu. Let's head to the solar, shall we? Okay, go.
Now that everything's calmed down a bit, relatively speaking I mean, I thought it might be a good time to share our progress on the weapon. I believe we're on the verge of a breakthrough.
Well, don't keep us all in suspense.
Just in case anyone's forgotten, let's start by reviewing what we already know. So, an Ascian is an immortal because its soul doesn't return to the ethereal realm when its host is defeated. Instead, it flees to the place that lies between our world and the void. Therefore, the first step to permanently defeating an Ascian is preventing its soul from making this journey. And if you recall, when we last gathered here, I had verified that white auracite has adequate capacity to entrap the beings, albeit only briefly.
Which left the small matter of their extermination.
Aye. To unmake an Ascian soul, one must needs smite it with a concentrated burst, or blade, of purest ether. However, we wanted for both the data and the means to forge such a weapon.
Short of experimenting on an actual Ascian, you see, there's no way to gauge how much ether its soul is made of. As such, we don't know what etheric density our blade needs to have in order for it to work.
So we'll just have to make the densest blade we can and hope for the best. Though that would require a lot of ether. Hang on a minute! Why didn't we think of this before? White auracite can hold an absolute heap of ether, can't it?
Please tell me you're joking. God's sakes, Ida. I feel as though I'm reliving the same scene over and over with you. How many times do you need to be told that white auracite cannot store ether for long periods? Being intangible matter, ether is given to dispersion. Only in its crystallized form is it a stable source of energy. I will test you later on this, so see to it you do not forget.
Right, yes. It's all coming back to me.
So our hopes rest on good old crystals again, do they? While they are certainly reliable, they leave something to be desired in the area of portability.
Indeed. I am reminded of the quantity of corrupted crystals required to thwart Leviathan, and the extraordinary lengths to which the Lamentsons went to transport them. What if it should prove that a similar quantity was needed to destroy an Ascian's soul? Or still more?
I do not envy the poor sod who has to lug all of that around, on the off chance that an Ascian appears.
That's the very problem we set out to solve, and I reckon we've found the answer. If it isn't practical to lug around the ether we need, we'll just have to draw upon another source. And the only viable source is the land.
If you mean to tap the Great River of Ether, know that it will entail considerable risk. Meddling with the currents may well induce a surge like to the one which despoiled Mordona.
Give me a bit more credit, will you? Why would we need to tap the river when there are veritable reservoirs jutting out all over the land? I speak of corrupted crystals. It might be that their aspect is out of balance, but a crystal's a crystal. It contains ether, and we can help ourselves to it.
While corrupted crystals are indeed abundant, there is no guarantee that they will be in close proximity at a crucial moment.
But what if we don't need them to be? What if we could tap their power from afar? A malm away, say? If we could do that, we'd have ready access to ether aplenty in almost every corner of Eorzea. I've yet to put my theories to the proof, but I've got a good feeling about this. If no one has any objections, I'd like to see where this avenue leads.
If you think it worth your while, you have my blessing. But tell us, what are your theories? I, for one, am most eager to understand the process, however vaguely.
I thought you might say that, but no one wants to listen to boring old theories all day, do they? I know I don't. So with your permission, I'd like to try something a bit more hands-on. I've already built an etheric siphon especially for this purpose, and I've been meaning to try it out. Thing is, the profusion of corrupted crystals in Mordona makes it something of a high-risk testing ground. If anything goes awry with the siphon, it would be better if it didn't happen within spitting distance of quite so much ether. Ideally, I need an isolated specimen. Does anyone know where I can find one?
May I suggest northern Thanalan? There you will find corrupted crystals of middling size, standing a reasonable distance apart. Ideal for your needs, I should have thought. Oh, and if you do elect to visit the place, I should be much obliged if you would assist me in another matter while you are in the area.
Has something happened?
Movement has been observed at Castrum Meridianum. During Operation Archon, the Alliance dealt the stronghold a heavy blow. Its facilities were extensively damaged, and its garrison reduced to a fraction of its former strength. Not long after our forces withdrew, however, their ranks were replenished by reinforcements from Castrum's sentry. They now seek to rebuild, and to this end they have their sights set upon the ceruleum processing plant. Having lost the Empire's support, the 14th Legion lacks the resources to sustain itself. To them, this is a bid for survival, and they will doubtless fight like desperate men. Though I have dispatched the Crystal Braves, I fear their strength alone may not suffice to stay the Imperial assault. I would request the Scion's aid in the defensive effort.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you were trying to inveigle us into fighting your battle with the promise of shiny crystals. Well then, consider me inveigled. I won't lie, the crystals you speak of sound perfect, so the Garleans have to go. Besides, we can't afford to beat about the bush. There's no telling when the Arsians will next appear.
Thine eagerness to hurl thyself into the jaws of danger cometh as little surprise. Exercise due caution, I prithee.
Though you have become a crystal brave, you are yet a scion, Alphino. We could hardly refuse you. Pray, join the Crystal Braves and lend them your support. Thangred and Papalimo shall accompany you. Ida and Yashtola, in the meantime I would have you assist Moonbreeder. Scout out the crystal clusters, that the testing may commence as soon as the Garlean threat has been eliminated.
If it please you, I shall continue mine own experiments on white orosite.
Thank you, Arianger. Everyone, pray see to your preparations and depart as soon as you are able. Go well, and be safe.
go speak with Alphanode. To assume that the events have once more conspired to rob us of rest and reputation, though I would wish it would otherwise. I must ask that you head straight away to the processing plant. The 4th have already deployed to the area and await the arrival of the Scions. Wilred will brief you on the developing situation. Meanwhile, I must rendezvous with Captain Albert at our headquarters in Oda. I shall take command of our forces there with a lighter heart, knowing that you could go to support the front lines. Your duties take you to Northern Fanaland, do they not? We too must say our farewells to the Rising Stones for a time. Fanaland travels to Oda, and we shall serve as our escort. At my daughter's behest, I will go to contact certain old acquaintances in the Glided City. We are beset on our sides by civil unrest and imperial machinations, threatened by primals and troubled by dragons. We need all the allies we can muster. Many of our friends hold positions of power, you see, and it is my hope that they can be convinced to aid the Science cause. In the past, events have taught us anything, then we know that Eurozone must present a united front, or we shall fall. Ah, how extraordinary that my little Acelia is involved in such a far-fetching affairs. I am proud that I might now stand at her side, not only as a mother, but also as a colleague. A colleague with influential connections, but I fear that Oda has become a place of danger even for one so familiar with her streets. Bah, well, besides the blackguard that so much as glares in your direction, milady. I shall be well protected, it seems. Shall we be on our way then? Where is this processing plant? Oh, I got that tuned already. Fair enough. Where is he? There he is. Commander of yours sent word that you would be coming. A veteran of your talents is most welcome. Not that I think we can handle it. Don't think we can handle the situation, mind you. I've learned a trick or two since the disaster with the Marja. But returning to the task at hand. The Flames reconnaissance scouts have reported Imperial soldiers assembling at Robon's push. Such a force is likely interested in only one thing: getting their hands on the resources found here at the processing plant. The Guardians could begin marching on us at any time. Pray speak with Lieutenant Leeson and we might coordinate our counter-strategy. In the meantime, I shall inform the others that you have arrived. No doubt it will be a welcome tidings. Private Half-Moon, my soldiers yet tell tales of your deeds during Operation Archon. Would that we could sit a while and reminisce about the old times, but I fear that more pressing matters require our attention. The civilian Jonesmen you see have come across several highly suspicious crates with boundaries of the processing plant. I had my sappers take a closer look, and our worst fears were confirmed. These boxes contain powerful explosive devices of Imperial design, no less. By my order, the Flames stationed here are conducting a full sweep of the compound as we speak. Though it troubles me that we were unable to apprehend the Imperial spy behind this, I have faith that our men will be able to neutralize the threat for now. In the meantime, our scouts are being bring troubling news on the latest movements of the Imperial Army. I will once again ask for your aid. Okay. On the counter-offensive, Lieutenant Addiston wishes to share a report with you concerning the Garling's movements. We have been keeping a close eye on the Garling's garrison, and it would seem that the Imperials have finally begun to mobilize. According to the reconnaissance report that just come in, the squads seen leaving the Castrum are too few in number to effectively take and hold our position. They will likely mount a swift assault and focus on the acquisition of our resources. I have, of course, also shared this report with the Crystal Braves. They decided to take on to the field and meet the assault head-on. I have appraised your fellow Scions of the situation, and am heartened to know that they will be joining the effort. Pray report to Lieutenant Allen and lend your much welcome strength to the counter-offensive. Okay? Glad to have you with us, Violet. I am sure Lieutenant Edson has explained that Garlings have employed a small force from Gastrum Myriadum. Their main column assembles to the north near Diamond Talons, but we also spied several squads attempting to conceal themselves on the approach to the west. They wish to rush forth and commit a battle with main columns, leaving the detached force free to raid the plant and pillage supplies. Not much of a strategy, but these are desperate men. Captain Elbert. Greetings, Scions. I understand the commander bid you and your fellows to come and lend us a hand to the Braves. With such mighty heroes at our disposal, the Fourth should have a little trouble contending with naught the Garlings might throw at them. But even you cannot be everywhere at once. The Third was getting restless, holed up in Ulda, so I marched them out here to fill any holes in the plant's defences and aid their numbers to your counterattack. The reforms are welcome. We have enough soldiers now to divide our own forces and safely engage the enemy far beyond the walls. It would be best to avoid staging a battle anywhere near this much. Sulium, let's take this fight to the Guardians. A wise course indeed. I start to think that the consequences should any of the storage tanks be exposed to fire. If there's no objections, the Science shall join the Fourth and give battle to the main column. You with the Third then, Warrior of Light, your job will be to intercept these squads hiding out in the west and prevent them from reaching the pressing plant. Then, when you're ready to proceed, report to Lieutenant Hayes. His scouts have a rough idea where the Imperials have been concealed themselves by now. Okay, let's go and find him. A pleasure to be fighting at your side once more, Scion. Our preparations invariably succeed when you are around. The victories that are wont to pave the road to the greater coin. Now, the detached force we've been sent to eliminate has split into smaller squads, the better to conceal themselves within the terrain hereabouts. I imagine we will need to split ourselves up as well as to cover more ground, and to make sure that we root out all of these would-be raiders. And seeing as you're an army into yourself, I assigned you with your own areas to scour clean of enemy soldiers. Aye, this will be a simple search and destroy. We will rendezvous back here when the task is done. Happy hunting, Scion. Let's go. There's one here. Let's just get here. Ooh, hello.